The phrase living legend is much overused, but in the case of Peter Walwyn, the cap fits perfectly. Champion trainer on 2 occasions, he will always be linked with the late Pat Eddery, and I asked him how they met.
It was through Peter Bromley, who was then a wonderful man, and we were having breakfast in the tea rooms at Newmarket. It was a very good meeting place. And he said at breakfast time, he said, "Oh, there's a boy coming on," he said, "that you ought to keep an eye on, called Pat Eddery." I didn't have a clue about him. Anyway, so I kept my eye open, and I suddenly thought yes, and so I rang up Frenchy Nicholson, who he was with, and I said to Frenchy, "What's that boy doing next year?" And I hadn't talked to a single owner, and he said, "Oh well, he's riding some for Jeff Barling, I think when Lester wasn't riding them, and he's riding for Derek Candy when Joe Mercer wasn't riding them." And I said, "Well, if he comes to me," I hadn't talked to a single owner. I said, would you let me? He'd ride everything, a lot. So I hadn't talked to a single owner, and by the time I rang him after that, anyway, and I saw Frenchy after that. He always said I had breakfast on a Sunday morning with Pat. We'd play a game of snooker. And I said to Pat, "Who would you like to ride for next year?" And he said, "Oh, well, Peter Walwyn." So anyway, so he said, "Well, if you want the job," he said, "you've got it." So bang. And Frenchy rings me up and said, "Yes, you can have that boy." I rang up all the owners. They all said, "Yes, fine." You know, I said, "Look, he's only young, but you know, he can ride everything." And so they said, "That's fine, no problem."
And what was he like as a person at that stage?
Normal, quite nice, very nice, very subdued, but he never changed. He never got smart, he never got grand. No, he was always the same person, always.
And did you get on well as, not obviously you got on well professionally, but did you get on well as people?
Oh yeah. You couldn't help it. No, he was just a star.
Some of obviously the main horse everyone mentions is Grundy. Did he know immediately? Was he the type of jockey that was a judge? You know, when he got on, he said, "This is a ripper," straight away.
Well, he just said, this is pretty good, but that's all really, you know. But it just came. I mean, he rode so many good horses for me. You know, wonderful. Produced horses like rabbits out of a hat. You know? They couldn't help stop winning.
Did you give him orders?
Never gave him any single orders. No, he just rode. He could ride. He had marvelous hands, extraordinary, wonderful, gifted hands, and he was wonderful.
For people not involved in horse race, not closely involved, when you say lovely hands, what, he was able to settle horses, or he was able to?
No horse ever pulled with him. Always wonderful. He could feel for horses. Just magic. It was absolute magic.
You had so many wonderful times together, but obviously that King George, 1975, Grundy Bastino. What do you remember about that, Mr. Walwyn? You know, from the whole sort of the build up to the whole thing.
I don't really remember it. I mean, I can't remember. I mean, after it, I was in a daze. Everybody was. I mean, I think everybody still says it was the race of the century. The way they went to absolute battle. And Joe Mercer was a great friend, and we beat Joe Mercer a very short distance. But it was a magic race, wonderful race.
I mean, we hear so much about it now, but at the time, was there a big build-up towards it?
Well, there was really. It was a champion 4-year-old against a champion 3-year-old, and it was a proper race. And we had Dalio in the race, and we had all sorts of other ones. Dalio was beaten, I think, 13 lengths and I mean, but there were so many good horses behind. And just, there was a string of good horses in the race. It's rather lost its dazzle now, but it was a wonderful race.
And I would think that Pat Eddery is the sort of jockey, obviously he was a brilliant rider, but a very cool head on a big occasion.
Oh, yeah. He had a magic. He was extraordinary.
Funny enough, he had his own very unique style, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he used to bump about in the saddle. Yeah, he bumped about a lot in the saddle, and but you couldn't. I mean, he had an electric arse on him, and he just ride. That was it.
And he was, although he could be very strong in a finish, he was also a very sympathetic rider, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
You know, with
He never overdid it. Never overdid it. No, he was absolute magic.
So, what do you remember when Pat first started riding for you? Did you sort of, and you must have seen him develop as a person as well as a jockey.
I know, yeah. Well, he was never late. Always there on time, riding work or races, everything else like that. Always absolutely marvelous, and just natural.
Did you used to travel to the races together?
Oh yeah, we used to. Yeah, he used to come and ride work and then go racing, or then we met at the races all the time. Talked every day, and we.
He used to have what I used to like. He, even in his later days, he had that sort of schoolboy look about it, didn't he? He had a wicked sense of humour. I bet you had some funny times together as well.
We had marvellous times, yeah, marvellous. He had a brother-in-law called Terry Ellis, who was married to his sister, and he was a big help with Pat early on, finding the right races and so on, and the agent for him. But I mean, he could ride anything.
And how do you think Pat would compare now with your Ryan Moores, your Frankie Dettoris?
Well, I think he'd compare with Ryan Moore very well. Same sort of person, really. And very quiet, but just go on with it. I'm not sure about Dettori. He's a brilliant rider this year and so on. But I don't think he's in the same class as Pat, ever. But he was just a wonderful gift he had. Even when he went early on, and Bruff Scott was there, used to ride out for Frenchy, and always. Frenchy Nicholson said to Bruff Scott, "Never mind that boy. He won't do it immediately." He said, "I bet he'll be top jockey." He said to him very early on. There we are. He was quite right.
Times change, and in those sort of days, it was very much a sort of a master-servant sort of situation with the jockeys. And all the way through his career, Pat was a very polite man, wasn't he?
He was always, yeah.
Counts for an awful lot.
Oh yeah. He was magic. As I said, he used to produce rabbits out of hats, and he just had that way with him.
Did he used to come in for breakfast after riding out?
Oh yes, always, yeah.
Did he? And he didn't really have too many weight issues, did he?
Not really, no. He did 8 stone or something, and no problem at all.